Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to another live edition of Diecast Breakdown. We're so glad you're here with us today, and we are live from the beautiful Ahern Hotel and Convention Center in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Diecast Supercon, presented by whom again?
You tell us.
It would be Jada and Majorette, I believe.
That's right.
You are correct.
Yes, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Mr. David Johns of TWYCE Diecast. How you doing, David?
I'm good, Chuck. How's everybody doing out there?
And Mr. Mark Berenson of DrivenDreams.org.
How's it going, everybody? Glad to be here again.
And we are thrilled to be joined once again by Mr. Darryl Li of Jada and Majorette. Jada Toys specifically, right?
Yep, that's correct. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming back on. So, for those who don't really know, let's talk really quickly about the Jada Majorette partnership. Let's explain that really quick, because I think I'm still a little fuzzy on the details there.
Sure. So for those that don't know, Majorette actually goes back as far as the 1960s in France. That's where they originated from. So they've been around for a while. That's the short snippet there. For us as Jada, we were acquired by the Simba Dickey Group in 2018. And so we've been part of the same family group for a while now.
Yeah.
Now, what you're probably starting to see at this show circulate is our collaboration with Majorette.
Right.
And so since 2018, we've always kind of been talking back and forth of trying to collaborate on a brand together. The timing never really lined up, but we figured this year, finally the stars aligned. Let's do it. And so they are sister companies with us. We do collaborate with each other quite a bit on old projects and things like that. So this was our first foot forward into this space with a new brand.
Very cool. And, talking about Diecast Supercon really quick, since we're here, we didn't really talk about this much the last time you were on. Jada is the title sponsor, the presenting sponsor, however you want to call it. Your name is on the logo. So tell us about that, why you decided that this is the right event for Jada.
There are a few touch points to go into there, but for us, I think we traditionally in our history, we have never really participated in shows and events quite like this one, where it's very consumer facing and really all about the collector, right?
Sure.
We've done a lot of events that are like car shows and that really caters to the automobile enthusiast. But we saw this as an opportunity to truly be in front of the diecast enthusiast.
Right.
And if there's a bridge between both worlds there, then obviously great. But our focus for being here is to really engage with the community. And once we learned about this opportunity of being here at this event, traditionally it's always been known as a Hot Wheels show, which we love and respect.
Right.
But we wanted to throw our hand in the ring there and see if we can start to engage with the actual Jada fan base here and then maybe meet some people that are not as familiar with Jada, get our brand recognition out there, and have them start talking about us.
No, and that's very smart too. I think for so long, Hot Wheels has kind of been like the Kleenex of facial tissues. People that it's almost synonymous with the scale, 3-inch long cars. People just throw that out as like the generic term. But you come to an event like this, and you realize there is so much more, especially to 1/64 scale, than that surface level. I'm seeing a lot of great representation. You guys have got a killer 10 by, I think you got a 10 by 20, 10 by 30 booth.
Yeah, 10 by 20.
10 by 20 booth with some really great castings laid out. You've got some really killer stuff lined up. Let's talk a little bit about, Jada has had a historic look to it, a very custom look to it. And the cars that you're showing, you've still got some of that pedigree in there in a lot of your Jada lineup, but there's a different twist to the new cars that you guys are showing off. So let's talk a little bit about that really quick, how that's evolving.
Absolutely. I think going into past, Jada history, we were always synonymous with a particular Jada style. And that really originated from, the concept of Dub City and all that stuff, right? And now, we don't want to lose that because that's very much in our DNA.
Sure.
And we want to carry that forward into, a lot of our mainline stuff. An activation that we're doing as far as brand direction is concerned is more of a direct-to-consumer business model. So we're trying to grow that element of it. But in that element, we see an opportunity to be able to create something more genuine and more authentic.
Sure.
Right? Something at a little bit of a higher price point than what people are familiar with, but also at a greater quality.
Sure.
And so that's an opportunity for us to step away a little bit from that Jada style and be a little bit more authentic to what you see at your typical car events, car shows, and things like that, and really just have it be an accurate representation.
Gotcha.
Darryl, is it as exciting to you as it is to me when I look at your booth, and I go by several times a day, kind of a lurker, but I did notice all 3 waves of the new Majorette models are out, and they're on display. They look freaking amazing. Talk about when you partner or are aligned with a company the size of Majorette, that excitement with the range of cars that's already in the the bank that you can work with, and how that can, I don't know, just broaden the horizons of Jada. What does that mean to you in terms of what you can do in the future now?
It sounds really cliche, but the sky's the limit. Certainly when you have the sky's the limit, and I think this first collaboration is a representation of that. Certainly, if we're able to hit the ground running with this, and it's well received within the collector fan base, company is we're very much family oriented. It doesn't really take us long to find this collective synergy to be able to work with each other, because at the end of the day, we all share the same love and passion, not only for automobiles, but die-cast collectibles. And it's been very, very refreshing in getting to know the team over at Majorette as well, that share that same passion. And in fact, as cheesy as it might sound, Simbadicki's slogan is "We love to make toys." And when we're communicating with them, it's very apparent. They're very, very passionate about what they do, and that goes the same for us here. And because we're all aligned in that direction, we're able to roll out a great product. And like I said, if it's been well received here, we're going to definitely continue to do more. So I mean, that support means the world.
So those, and I just want to piggyback real quick, and then I'm going to let Mark talk. When I see those clean stock cars by the decade, that's really cool. Do we anticipate, hopefully, to see some Jada-style cars in that premium level in a wave in the future?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you look really closely, you'll see that our imprint is very heavily influenced on the car selections and the car designs, actually. The funny thing in getting to know the Majorette team is is learning how to work with them and what their aesthetics, in terms of design elements are going to be. So for them, they like to stay a little bit more traditional. So like more of the stock cars, keep it clean, keep it classy, right?
That's David style.
That's
right
David.
there.
Yeah, and so certainly we love that. But at the same time, being Jada, we love to modify and have a little bit of fun with the design element. So if you actually look across the range, there are going to be some race cars. There's going to be some JDM cars that have, very iconic liveries dedicated to particular race teams and aftermarket. So we do have a bit of influence on there. Now, as far as the overall Jada style, we're pushing for it. If we can get a 1/64 scale that's just like dumped with like deep dish wheels, I think that would be the coolest thing ever. So
Agreed.
We're probably going to see his own car, to be honest with you. We'll probably see.
That'd
I
be
don't know
number
about
one.
that, but
He's
we'll see.
pushing for that. I know that.
Maybe.
Darryl, so what has been like with the Majorette, with the new cards that are like what's been with the pairing? Because a lot of people know that you guys have been associated with each other for a while, since what, 2018, correct?
Yep, 2000.
Yeah. So, but this is the launch. This is like, hey, this is what we're doing together. What has been the feedback that you've heard at the convention from people coming by? Like, what has been the best feedback for you on the cars and the card art? Because it's amazing. I mean, it looks really clean and nice. And for people like myself, it's just sometimes it's like less is more,
Yeah, absolutely. I think overall we're absolutely thrilled with the feedback regarding this line. Certainly when you're working on a new brand internally, you start to develop this emotional attachment to it, right?
Sure.
And you might think that it's like the coolest thing ever, and because you're so proud of it.
Right.
But this being at this show and showcasing it for the first time is a real world case study, and throughout the day, we've had numerous amounts of people come through our booth, They're asking about the exclusive product. B, they're checking out the line with all the future releases.
Yeah.
And almost every single one of the feedback has been like, these look great. What are the next cars that are going to be coming out? When is this going to be available? All that stuff. So we're floored by the reception, and we can't wait for these to officially be released and really, really see them out in the market and see what the actual reaction is going to be like.
Now, when we had you on recently, I don't know if we touched price points at all when we had you on about what these are going to cost.
But we can remind
Yeah,
them.
if we can remind people what the price point is going to be on these cars, so that when they come out, they can save their pennies.
Start mortgaging their
Yeah, so they can.
It won't get to that level. These are still pretty affordable. Now, I will say that this also
It
stays.
adds up.
You're right. But this also stays true to Jada DNA, which is being able to offer great quality at an affordable price point.
Sure.
So regarding the collection series, it's going to be available starting this fall, 2025, at mass retail, so Walmart and Target, at a starting price point of $7.99.
Wow.
So at $7.99, not only do you get a more premium 164 diecast car with feature-rich details, but it also comes on a little bit of a display base. It has the acrylic case. You get a more collector packaging. So we feel like that's pretty good.
That's a good price.
Yeah,
That's a very
Darryl,
reasonable price.
that's too low, man. I only buy premium stuff, and that is ridiculous. When I look at the cars over there and you're going to give me that for $7.99, that is insane.
Are you out of your mind? $7.99 out of your mind?
Yeah, we're going to use
That's what
that.
David's saying right there.
That's right.
He just gave you
That's
the.
that's the sound bite there. They're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna
commercial
use that from now on,
David
moving
going,
forward.
$7.99?
Yeah, but we feel like that's, again, true to Jada DNA,
Sure.
right?
It's amazing.
It's affordable, and at the end of the day, it's something that just keeps this community going. Like it's something new, it's something fresh. It gives people a reason to go out there and continue to buy and collect, and maybe share that with their families. And I don't know, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, are these going to be in the traditional big box store locations that Jada is famous for, or are these going to be hobby exclusives? Are they online? Where are people going to be able to buy them?
It'll be available at mass retail first, but they'll also be making their way into the hobby channels and things like that.
Oh, excellent. So coming to pigs near you. And I want to talk really quick. We touched on this earlier, and you've talked about this already, but I want to, just in case somebody who's watching hasn't seen it yet, you have a really cool number lineup for these first releases. So let's talk about that really quick.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I've been referring it to as more of an Easter egg because, it's a fun little marketing play when we're talking about it to our partners, at retail and licensing and things like that. But to the consumer, you guys are all so smart. It's like it doesn't really take that long to catch on to it.
They'll hack it.
But just for the sake of explaining it, right? Each wave is going to contain 6 cars, okay? And the first model car that we chose for Wave 1 is a 1955 Chevy Bel Air. Now, to the average person, it might seem like a random pick, or they might just be fans of, a Bel Air. Cool, I am too. The second car is a 1965 Ford Mustang GT350 Shelby. Yep. So the model of the car, they're still cool, but the thing to catch on or pay attention to are the model years. The first car was a 1955. The second car was a 1965. And you can probably do the math after that of what's going to be coming next, right? So the next car is going to be 1975, right? So on and so forth.
I got it. I'm all over it.
So this line really plays by the decades.
Yeah.
So we start with the 5s, then we're going to go to 6s, 7s, 8s, so on and so forth.
And that makes a lot of sense, too, because you've got, if you learn anything going to an event like this, you've got collectors of all ages and ranges, and they're going to have their different passions. So you're going to have people who are all about the 50s cars. So there's at least going to be one car in this that's going to be for somebody. And you go all the way up to 2005, correct?
Correct.
So, 50s through the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's such a good point, Chuck. You go over there now, there's Bel Airs. Is that?
Yep.
There's a Bel Air in the same series or line as a Bugatti. Where else are you going to get that?
Exactly.
Ford GT40.
It's a nice mix.
IROC, everybody, every type of collection.
You're keeping everybody happy, which is nice. Just the classic car guys.
We try, but you know what? it's been fun, but it's also been challenging in this sense when we're picking cars, because we're picking one car by the decade.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
When you're going into like the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s,
So many cool
you have
things.
so much to pick from. But when you got to pick one from like 1955 or like
Yeah.
1965, let's say that's like kind of the golden age for, you know.
Yeah,
the,
65 to 69 or
yeah,
so,
right. But when
70.
you get into those more obscure years, you're kind of like, the selection's actually quite limited.
Yeah.
And what makes sense for like a mass market, right? It's just-
Yeah, something that everybody's going to like, you know,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
something
Well-
that's just going to be like, I don't like that.
And you've done a good job of picking from around the world too. You've got a JDM car. You've got a, you've got the Honda NSX. You've got the Porsche 930.
That's correct.
Correct, 930 to 80 or 75 Porsche 930. So you got American cars are very well represented in this group, but then you got the Italian supercar, of course. So I think that's really interesting a mix too, and I'm sure that's going to build a lot of buzz too, because next line's kind of come around, and so we'll assume, okay, maybe the next ones are all sixes. So which car from the 50s are they going to pick next, and which car from the? And so that's a really good anticipatory thing. I think that's very.
That's
fun.
where we can have a lot of fun with the collectors too, right? Because if they know that the 60s are going to be the next wave coming up, I mean, we'd love to hear from them. You know, any vehicle suggestions for the 60s.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool.
I just like that you're taking on every diecast brand. It's Jada against the world, and we're coming for you. I like it. You don't have to comment. Nothing on the.
Yeah,
well,
no,
you can
that's
comment
not
off
a
the record.
question.
There's plenty of room on my shelf for all brands. I'm just going to put that out.
No,
Yeah, but listen, there's-
it's amazing the variety and the breadth of the catalog
Yeah.
that you guys are putting out. And I mean, this is wave 3. We're three waves into hopefully a lot of waves.
We have much more planned. We just haven't shown them here. But to your first comment, I certainly we're so excited to be here, and there's definitely room for everybody at the table. And to my point earlier, I think, let's say, quote unquote, competition or whatever you want to call it, is good for the community.
It makes
Right?
it brings out the best in everybody.
Yeah, because ultimately the collectors are the ones that win, and that's what we want, right?
Sure.
And when we're going around these shows, like you see Cartoon, you see Exo America, right? You got Greenlight, you got M2. It's funny because all of these companies and people at these companies are actually just industry friends.
Yep.
And you'll catch us going up to each and every single one of them, acknowledging them, going to their panels and things like that, just because it's a genuine relationship. And for
Yeah.
me, that's the best thing about it.
Well, yeah, and it's a small world, like you said. Like, there's a lot of people that will work for, especially designers will work for several different brands throughout their careers.
Absolutely.
So, it behooves the companies to be at least have a cordial working understanding with each other, because you never know who from that team's going to come over and work for you, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah, and it's not, and you don't want to create some awkward feeling like, hey, I'll see you next year at Supercon.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, hey, you were good. So, but
That would bring a whole new definition of getting in
The octagon,
the
yeah.
octagon.
Yeah.
We're here in the octagon right now. Well,
Yeah, there you go.
stepping into the ring, Exo America takes on Jada.
No,
They aren't
I
there.
think that like a convention like this is great for the manufacturers to all come and like kind of see what each other see what's out there. What is M2 doing? What is Cartoon doing? Because it keeps everybody on their toes, because they're like, oh, that's really nice. Like, I like how they did that. Like, we gotta put something out, maybe a little bit. Like, we gotta step up our game a little bit. So
Yeah.
if you didn't do that, like you're not paying attention enough.
Exactly.
If you're
but-
not
but-
coming to something like this.
Right. And in general, I think just as fans of the hobby, when you
Yeah.
see something a little bit different that you can appreciate as a collector, you're
Sure.
like, wow,
Yeah, has nothing to do with Jada, just being a collector,
Yeah, from
Or
a
just being a
collector
car fan.
standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what kind of gets exciting. And, I've had some time to be able to walk the show floor, but I'm always kind of just scouting potentially just for myself, right? Just for my own collection. So, I mean, it's fun.
No,
both ways.
there's never been a better time to be a collector in our hobby than right now. Like,
Exactly.
Very
And
well said, David.
And we were talking with CJ and Steve and the team over here, and acknowledging that, like, from where they started to where the show is today, It's been amazing to see the growth year over year. And for us as Jada, an absolute pleasure to be a part of, helping in any way that we can, and so again, with our presence here, just to be able to have the FaceTime with the people and witness the growth firsthand, it's been an amazing thing.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into a show like this, like unimaginable, just for the vendors and for like the manufacturers alone, but to be able to put everybody together and have it all work, and not be a complete mess.
Listen, I organize a few smaller scale events for Jada, so I already know the level of stress and management, skill that it takes to put on, something like this. But this is a much greater scale than what I am usually responsible for, so I can only imagine. However, with that said, it doesn't get done without a great team.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that Steve and CJ have, the best team behind them to be able to pull things like this off, and my hat's off to them.
Yep, absolutely. We agree.
Now, Darryl, we've talked a lot about how Jada relates to the collector and the consumers that are visiting today. I'm curious because you've had to build a lot of relationships, because you've been in the industry for a while as the marketing person and as one of the key leading people for Jada. I'm curious what it's like building that relationship with the automotive brands themselves. Is there a pretty standard reception between the brands? Is there a lot of variance to it? What's the kind of relationship that you as a collectible manufacturer has with those car brands, and how do you nurture those sorts of things?
That's a good question. That's the first time I've been asked that question.
That's Chuck Ellis.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
That's Chuck Ellis.
That's all he does is bring it.
That's my day job talking.
No, great question. And I think it's a bit 50-50 split down the middle. I think you have some more traditional companies in the actual automotive space that are familiar with Jada, and they're like, we're big fans of what you do. We've been collecting your stuff, all these years. Mm-hmm. And recently we've been getting a lot of, I'm kind of familiar with Jada, and then I usually have to give them the pitch of who we are, what we're capable of, what we do. And the hook is always, let me get you into our showroom. Let me get you into our showroom and show you exactly who we are and what we do. And once all of that product is in front of them, everything changes.
Sure.
And I think a little bit of it is, too, they might see the Jada name once in a while, but, once you see something once and you really pay attention to it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
So now they're telling me, when they go into their retail stores in their different parts of the world, they're like, I had no idea Jada had this sort of distribution, or that you guys do this, this, and that. And so it's becoming a little bit more apparent to them, right? And then the other thing is when I sit down with them and I start planning what the list of projects or vehicles that we can do together would be, and by the way, this is what our distribution capabilities are and how we can go about it, then it kind of changes the game a little bit for them, right? So that's one aspect of it. Once all that's done, honestly, it's just so cool to be able to just have a natural progressing relationship with these manufacturers.
Sure.
Certainly there's a business component to it, right? Mm-hmm. But we try to be as personable as we can through the process and keep them updated with everything that we're working on and the progression of things, and start planning out future projects with them. And we just try to make it fun, man, because at the end of the day, you're combining real cars with toy cars, and we all love it. So,
Darryl, what's it like as a creator, as an artist? What's it like seeing something that you had in your head in your hand? Tell me about the reward of seeing something you put time and effort and creativity into being tangible.
It's quite an unexplainable feeling, and I don't know. There's like this very proud satisfaction, right? I don't get lost for words too often. But when it's your own personal project, or again, you have some level of emotional attachment to it, certainly it hits you a little bit different. So when you see it finally come to life, the thing I'm really bad at is being present in the moment.
Sure.
and taking a step back to recognize what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's tough for a lot of us.
Yeah. So I try to remind myself of that and really just soak it in. And those would be the moments where I'm actually truly at a loss for words. Like that's the best way that I can explain it. Of course, inside, I'm excited, I'm anxious, I'm super proud. But in the moment when I see something finally come to fruition, knowing everything that it took, from planning to communication and everything else in between, it's a very unexplainable
Is it a little
feeling.
bit of a dopamine hit? Like, does that foster more creativity?
Absolutely. Yeah. It like once I'm able to process, what has happened, it's kind of like, all right, well, on to the next, right? So,
Sure.
So, unexplainable feeling is what I would say, but it's
Darryl, what you talked about being a collector yourself and kind of going around and picking stuff up. What's your personal collection look like at home? What do you have? Do you have a room? Do you have a wall? How do you narrow it down with so many decisions on like so many products? Like, if you have a collection, how do you narrow that down?
I wouldn't consider myself like a true hardcore collector.
Yeah.
I like to collect a bunch of random knickknacks.
Sure.
So I don't have a dedicated room to it, but I do have dedicated shelves within rooms to them.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
I also do.
We can't all have rooms.
Yeah, right? But I do like using them as display piece to, accentuate a room and the aesthetic of it. But I love collecting, the higher detailed model cars, whether that's 164, 124, what have you. But I also love pop culture, and I'm a big fan of figure art stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
And so Dragon Ball Z stuff, I love any of the Marvel characters that they come out with.
Sure.
Godzilla stuff, I'm a big Godzilla fan.
Yeah.
Like per our conversation with GTRs, Godzilla,
Yeah, Godzilla
like there's a
in
natural
general.
association there.
Yeah.
And then like little trinkets of just automobile stuff. Like sometimes I just go on websites and I see, I don't know, a Porsche sign is up for auction.
Oh
That's
yeah, I'm
kinda-
always or Facebook Marketplace or something.
Yeah, right. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. So like I just collect a bunch of random things.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Like I'm trying to scale down to like a pretty much to that where I have some shelves and not like boxes full of them because it's just I can't appreciate them.
I got too many hobbies, man. I need to scale my hobbies down because hobbies can get expensive, as I'm sure we all know.
yeah.
But
Yeah, there's a lot of expense here right now. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
absolutely.
dollar bills, a lot of dollar signs.
It's a lot of economy being stimulated right now in this room.
Yeah.
But,
which is great. It's
so,
great
yeah,
for the.
it's a great thing. I'm curious with this new lineup because Jada is known for really two things, I think. You've got the Jada style, the Jada look, but you also have, as you mentioned, pop culture out the yin-yang with Jada. You've got Fast and Furious, you got Jurassic Park, you got Smokey and the Bandit, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, all these, iconic film, TV, pop culture franchises. I mean, that's just hitting on the movie stuff mostly. Are you thinking that with this new line of more accurate cars, there'll be the opportunity to do some more of that pop culture stuff that Jada's famous for, or is that going to stay more with the Jada look side of the business?
No, absolutely. I think any new developments that we have, going forward is always going to be an opportunity to be able to implement some sort of pop culture entertainment license into, right?
Sure.
New castings mean new freshness to all of our brands, and freshness to all of our brands make retailers happy.
Sure.
So it benefits not only our own properties that we release, such as Pink Slips, Big Time Muscle, Hyperspec, but it also benefits IP lines like Hollywood Rights, where
Sure.
a lot of it is just focused on licensed entertainment properties and things of that nature.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Speaking of new stuff, can we take a look at the Diecast Supercon show exclusive?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it. Let's dissect it as much as we can.
I got it
from
right here.
Oh, look at
We
that.
got
folks.
one in the house. Darryl, tell us about it. Why this
Here,
was
let me
chosen
move it up a
for
little
the
bit
show.
closer here.
Yeah. Run it up to the camera there, Mark. All right. Darryl, you can go ahead and talk about
There you
Mark's.
go. Yeah. So this one we were particularly excited for because obviously it features one of the coolest cars, in my opinion, in the collection series in Wave 1. It's the 1975 Porsche 930 Turbo. And we
Classic.
did something really special with this where we finished it in black chrome. So not only was it going to be the convention exclusive model, but it was going to be the first car from collection that anybody would have prior to its release later this fall. Now, as I'm sure everybody here has heard, we ran into a few production challenges along the way, and we just didn't feel 100% confident in releasing this. And, certainly with building all the hype around this brand and this collaboration with Majorette, we wanted to put our best foot forward. So we made the painful decision to withhold from selling this at the show.
Yeah.
But instead, what we're going to do is a very, very limited giveaway at our panel tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. So.
Daryl, as I understand, it's not a problem with the car at all. It's not the car itself.
No, well, there's some small things that maybe a lot of people wouldn't recognize, but because we work on it, we're like, oh, that's not passable.
Sure.
But from everything from packaging to the vehicle to the nameplate, we just want to make sure that everything is
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think all of us collectors can appreciate that you could just shrug your shoulders and let it go, and some other people may, but
we would have bought them.
Yeah, they still would have sold. People would have been happy. But
I mean, your error line.
But there's standards, right?
Exclusive errors.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, the general feedback around this line has been amazing. It's been great, and I'm not. I'm confident, yes, we could have sold them, but we wouldn't have felt great about it.
That's what we're getting at is you care enough about the brand and about our satisfaction with the product.
And your engagement with the brand.
You can't put it out there. And
it could be the first and last that somebody buys because they find little flaws with it and stuff like that that they may not notice right away.
Exactly. The last thing we want is, to be able to roll this or sell this out and then, one day, I don't know, some of the collectors are like, you know what? This just looks okay. And then when the actual line of collection drops, it's like, then they're not really enthusiastic about it, right? So.
But with all that said, some of the things that bothered you about the packaging aren't on all of them. So some of them are going to be available. And tell us how some lucky collectors can get their hands on them.
Yeah, so they're going to have 2 opportunities to be able to win this. They don't even have to necessarily buy this. So for everybody watching.
So no money required.
Exactly.
Mark, go show it one more time while he's talking.
Show it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So for everybody watching, we have our live Jada panel tomorrow, Saturday at 10:30 a.m. at the Jada main stage here at the show. We're going to be showcasing some new stuff that we've been working on. But at the very, very end, we're going to do a live raffle. We're going to be giving away 5 limited limited quantities of this specific convention exclusive. Matter of fact, you can also head over to our booth right now at the show to pick up your raffle tickets ahead of tomorrow.
I'm in the raffle already.
There you go.
Y'all later.
Yep, we'll be right back.
But we will also be handing them out during the panel tomorrow. And to make that even sweeter, if you were one of the unfortunate ones that didn't win it at the panel, we're also going to be doing another 5 giveaway at our after party tomorrow night at 9 p.m. directly after the Hall of Honor dinner. So you definitely want to come by to our after party if you didn't win during the panel.
All right. That sounds like
David's speechless.
For me.
Look,
that's rare.
You got to find silver linings. Sometimes crap happens, and that's a silver lining. I think I'm glad that you see the stuff harder than the rest of us do because that thing looks amazing.
Well, thank you.
And,
we appreciate it.
I can't wait for the full release. All 3 waves, guys. If you're here in Vegas at the Diecast Supercon, you have got to go by the booth because you're not going to believe what you're seeing is from one company. That's what's trippy. When you've got Bel Airs and you've got hot rod dudes right beside the younger crowd checking out the NSX, I hate to stereotype, but you know what I'm saying. there's something for everybody. And
You
that's
got the
amazing.
guys wearing the jorts, you know, and New Balances.
Hey, Jordans
David.
are for everyone.
Yeah.
That's Mark making fun of me, and I do not own any New Balances. No offense to New
You got a
Balance.
We
He's got a
try-
Corvette.
Yeah, we try to cater to everybody. Certainly, it is a bit challenging and difficult at times, but we do like to be able to offer things for different folks. So,
That's a heck of an opportunity, and thank you for doing that, Daryl.
of course, thank you guys
Yeah,
for your
that is
support.
super cool.
Yeah, and Darryl, as we're wrapping up here, is there any final thoughts you want to leave with people? Anything that you really want to get across to the viewers, the fans, the people that are, here at the show that you've had that you want to offer them?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to, not only from me, but, on behalf of the entire Jada team, just extend our biggest appreciation and gratitude to, the fans of Jada that continue to support us, whether you're day one or you're new and you're just learning about us. Welcome to the Jada family. I think we love having the FaceTime and to be able to share our experiences with you guys and kind of listen to what you guys have to say. And also a big thank you to Steve and CJ and the rest of the team here for putting on such a great show and for having us. And finally for you guys and the Diecast Breakdown crew for having me.
Very much.
Yeah, thank you,
It's,
Daryl.
Yeah,
it's
no-
amazing.
No problem, man.
All right, Darryl. Well, thanks again. Again, folks, Darryl Li from Jada. Awesome company doing some really cool things. We're thrilled that they're here. We're honored that they sponsored this awesome event, and we're so glad that you're, keeping an ear to the ground, listening to what we want, getting us some really great, amazing mix of product out there. And, again, folks, stick around. We're going to be continuing to go live from the show. We got some other really great guests lined up. We are tickled to get death to once again talk to Darryl. Go back and check out our previous episode with him. He really breaks down a lot of the really cool backstory of Jada and the stuff that they've been working on.
You can
and
hear,
leading up
you
to
can
this
listen to me and Daryl go back and forth on
and you
JDM cars,
you
you know.
can hear them talk about Sun Kang for a little
Sun
while.
Kang.
Yeah, there you go.
All kinds of stuff.
Daryl's very close and personal friend, Sun Kang, and how he's going to introduce Mark. But no,
Yeah, right.
anyway. But yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, listening, wherever you are. We're so grateful you're here. Thank you to our patrons that make the show go. And thank you for making it to the end of another live stream here at Diecast Breakdown. And again, check us out. Thank you for subscribing, sharing if you like the show, and following along with us. You can visit diecastbreakdown.com to learn more about what we do and why. And of course, check out drivendreams.org, where we're raising 25,000 cars for kids in need in 2025. And as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags. Also, shout out to Rory for doing our live feed. He's great. And Rory, we are all done. You can